Hello, everyone. So today I'm here with Avishta, and we have been working together on things on Clubhouse. And that's where we met, in fact, on Clubhouse. Avishta was the brains behind Lingua Cultura, which was a fantastic language and cultural event on Clubhouse a couple of months ago now. Welcome, Avishta. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too, Richard. Thank you for having me. And I'm really looking forward to this. Thanks.
Yeah, well, me too. I mean, I saw all the wonderful things you did on Clubhouse, and I know not everyone out there is on Clubhouse, but I thought it was a really cool spin on the sort of an event on this audio platform, which is Clubhouse. It's just audio only, right? It's not, no visuals. How did it all come about?
It took quite a bit of work. It actually happened really, really fast. I think altogether from the moment that I started planning it, creating the content, to the event starting, I think, what was it, June 24th to the 26th. I should remember those dates. It was just a few weeks before that I started really thinking about how can we do this on a platform that's audio only. So yeah, it took quite a bit of planning, or let's say pre-planning and planning and implementing at the same time, which was really cool, something that I haven't really done before. But yeah, and of course, I started the whole thing and then I invited people to join me. One of the first people who I invited was Virla. And she's incredible, multilingual as well, and she was very happy to join. And then from there, a couple of weeks later, the team started growing with the ambassadors, and at the end, we had a team of about 5 people. And I think we did an excellent job given the lack of resources we actually had, and the short amount of time that we had. It was, we pulled a 3.5-day conference, a free one, free and non-funded. So it was an amazing experience for me, and I hope that it was for everybody else.
Yeah, well, I very much enjoyed the elements I was involved in. I thought it was really well organized. I thought it was a lot of fun. There was great engagement. People were really active in the sessions, and that was so much fun. I mean, the thing I think that stands out in terms of, organizing the Polyglot Conference, and sort of we do language, and there are other elements that come into it, but I quite like that you named it Lingua Cultura. So it was, you actually had that in the name. And I guess creating a new event, you had the ability to just decide what it was going to be in terms of names straight away. Polyglot Conference, unfortunately, was born out of a polyglot community online. So there was really only one choice when I put together the conference, first of all. Tell us though, you know, the idea of having lingua and cultura, the having language and culture together. How did that come about, and sort of what was the vision, and how did it mix together during the event for you?
Yeah, so the name kind of for me, I've always seen language. I think it's impossible to learn a language or really be immersed in one without thinking about culture. So I thought, how cool would it be if we didn't have just a language focus conference or gathering, but if we had one that had a big or equal component of culture to it. So that's kind of how Lingua Cultura was born. And of course, I played around with words like Lingua Cultura because in many languages, you use, especially the Romance ones, you use the same words, or you change a couple of alphabets here and there, and you get the same words. And that's kind of how I came up with the 2 names. I could have called it a language culture experience. But I thought, because this is all about languages, how cool would it be if we make it something different? And then the experience part came from the fact that I really wanted the culture part to be the focus, because there's lots and lots of language events and language focus conferences out there, but I did feel like the culture aspect of language in general was often forgotten. So for me, having, you know, studied languages and cultures, like my degree, my last degree was in modern languages and cultural studies. So that's also kind of where that idea came from, is like thinking of language and culture being intertwined. And then we added another aspect to it, the identity aspect, because, you know, when you're talking about language and culture, those two topics are very intertwined with identity. Your linguistic identity, your cultural identity make up who you are as a person. So that's kind of how the vision came about. It's called Building a Multilingual and Multicultural Future Together, for that purpose, because we do live in a somewhat like multilingual and multicultural world already, but there's no the connection isn't there. You know, are we really creating multilingual, bilingual speakers, or are we creating people who know these languages but don't really know how to use them, how to practice them, or not being engaged with the cultures and those languages? So that's kind of where the vision came from and the idea came from too.
Yeah, I mean, I really loved it. And I think one of the other things that was really cool was that you had sessions that weren't just in English. It was other languages, you know, you actually lived through the whole Lingua Cultura thing, right? You went through different languages to get to the topics that were discussed. How easy was that to achieve?
I wouldn't say it was easy at all. It was super difficult. To
Yeah.
this day, I still reflect on the experience, on the fact that I had so many sleepless nights, so much stress, and also the fact that during the event, when the event started, I always like often joke about this, but I know the people who attended the event, and including the session leads, they had a lot of fun. It was really, really an amazing experience for them, because they told me so afterwards and through the survey as well. For me, it was 3.5 days of like literally in my room, closed doors, and just being in the zone and just making sure that everything is running perfectly. So that was during the conference. After the conference, I basically crashed. I slept for like days, me and I'm sure the rest of the team as well. But before that, it was actually really interesting, because I had a clear vision of the sort of sessions I wanted. And when people started signing up, it completely blew me away. The quality, the high quality of the sessions that people were, you know, submitting. And some of them had the opportunity to share their experience. And one person actually said, you know, when I read the form, the Google form, they had to like sign up.
Yeah.
I connected so deeply with the content. It made sense to me that I would sign up. And they also said things like, you know, this is like the first time where they felt like, even though they didn't have like 2 or 3 degrees, they could be part of a conference, a global conference that could have a big impact on people. So when I heard things like that, it really made me realize that we had done something, we had achieved something really incredible. So yeah, like hearing those stories and also reaching out to lots of people on Instagram. Personally, I think I reached out to hundreds of people. And I know the rest of the team as well reached out to lots of people. And in the end, we had way over 100 submissions. We had to narrow it down to about 100 because it was just a 3-day conference. And then we had about 100 who actually presented on the day. Some because of technical issues couldn't make it. And there were a few issues here and there, as what happens with event planning. But, you know, I think we had an amazing event, really good experience.
I think so too. I mean, this is one of the things that I think is difficult, is getting sort of multiple languages used at these kinds of events. I think partly people feel a bit scared that if they do it in a language that's not English, it might be heard by fewer people. Maybe it's something like that, but definitely the crashing at the end of it, I get that completely. And a well-deserved crash as well. You deserved that rest, that you put in such a lot of work. Now, there is a bit of an ulterior motive for me having this chat with you as well, because I thought you were so cool and so good, and you so positive, and you encourage so many great people to come together, that it felt like it would be an absolute travesty not to have you around for the Polyglot Conference this year. So everyone, I'm very pleased to say that Avishta is joining the Polyglot Conference team and will be adding this wonderful dimension to the conference this year. And thank you so much for agreeing, because it makes me very happy. But we can have a call for papers that will pop in as a link, so people can submit to talk on the cultural tracks and these kind of things. But tell us a little bit about what you'd like to do at the conference this year to add your flavor to the event.
Sure. So very much like how we did it with I guess the first conference, Lingua Cultura experience, we want to bring the same sort of cultural experience, that cultural aspect, to Polyglot Conference. And I am really excited to look for even more ways to deliver linguistic and cultural experiences to the Polyglot Conference audience, and of course everybody else. So hopefully this time we're going to have even more sessions about dance and music and poetry, and we had a session about learning languages through magic. So hopefully we can have that again. Just like using different creative ways of delivering and talking about language and culture as well. So I'm really going to do the same thing that I did with the Lingua Cultura. Encourage people to have bilingual sessions. We had lots and lots of those. We had over 40 languages actually being represented during Lingua Cultura experience, and hopefully we'll have more this time. So I encourage people from Polyglot Conference to participate in Lingua Cultura experience as well, and vice versa. We can kind of cross pollinate. But this is the idea, is to keep celebrating the cultural aspect of learning a language. And we can bring in even more and more layers to it. But for now, Lingua Cultura will focus on the three main topics, which are language, culture, and identity, and how they're intertwined, and how can we keep talking about these three topics when we're talking about language. Because languages are great, we all know, as language learners and linguists, but we cannot forget that with languages, we are opening our minds and our worlds to learning about other people, other cultures, other histories, and discovering our own identity sometimes, learning more about ourselves through other cultures and languages. So that's the idea. And I hope we can keep doing that and bring that to the Polyglot Conference.
Well, I think we're all very lucky. Thank you so much. We're in for a real treat this year. And as I say, we'll pop some links in for how you can get involved in the Lingua Cultura aspect of the conference. If you want to do sessions yourself, or if you are interested in more details, we'll have those coming out too. But we will definitely look out for more people who want to speak, and in lots of different lovely languages too, to express and use the languages as a vehicle for culture and identity, to be able to have nice, deep conversations about all of those lovely things. Thank you so much, Avishta, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you for inviting me.